Hi there, it's Melody Brooke here. And today I am talking about something that has been coming up a lot in my practice lately, and I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention. And that is that the main thing I see happening with couples when they're first getting married is that they have all of these expectations that their partner will behave exactly as they think they should, or even maybe as they think they behave. And so they project onto their partner what they expect for them to do. What happens is we, as the recipient of all of that unfulfilled expectation, we feel, the partner feels, like there's something wrong with them, like they're not doing things right, because they naturally want to please you. But what ends up happening is that if they can't do things exactly as you would do them or as you think they should be done, then what happens is they feel like they're a failure, and they will feel defensive and perhaps angry every time you point out something that they did wrong or did in a way that you wouldn't have done it. I know that for myself, it was a really challenging period when I first got married, because what happened was that I felt like, wow, I was under this sort of microscope because my husband was noticing everything that I did. Now, fortunately, my husband isn't terribly critical. He would just make an observation comment about it. And, it was up to me to have some boundaries around that and be able to recognize that it's okay for him to have opinions. It's okay for him to have different ways of doing things. And it's also okay for me to do things the way I do them. But what I see so often in my practice is couples who just really struggle to either let their partner be the way that they are, or allow themselves to hear their partner's input without taking it critically. Both things are a major pitfall in new relationships, new marriages. So what I'm asking you to do is check out if you are projecting onto your partner what you think they should be doing, if you're projecting onto them what you think they should be thinking and feeling, if you're projecting onto them your own ways of doing, or at least the way you perceive yourself to do things, and if your partner isn't matching up to that, that somehow they're failing you. And realize that you married this person for a reason. You married them because there are things about them that you like. You don't want to force them into some kind of a round peg into a square hole, trying to make them be who they're not. You want them to be who they are. Now, obviously I'm not talking about big things where there's value choices or danger situations, but when we're talking about just normal, everyday things, what I see happening is that partners come in with this expectation of who they think you are, and if you turn out not to be that, then they get really unhappy because they thought that you were this limited picture of who they perceived you to be rather than who you actually are, because we are so complicated and none of us are perfect, and we all have all of these different areas that we have failures in, that we have quirks in, that we do things a little bit differently. And ask my husband, he'll tell you all about mine. But what we have to do is love those things in our partner. What we have to learn to do is accept them and love them, and recognize that maybe this is not the best part of that person, but you know what? We do love all of these other things about this person. And so we take it all. We take the whole package of who they are instead of picking them apart piece by piece. Because if in fact what you're looking for is a duplicate of yourself, sorry, I have to decline this call, then you're not going to get what you want. Because what you want is an alive, happy spouse who is feeling free and comfortable within their own skin. And they're not going to feel comfortable in their own skin if they're trying to fit into your image of who they should be. So ask yourself, in what ways am I forcing my partner or pushing my partner to be different than they are, to become something other than what we expect them to be? And when we do that, we're sacrificing not only the marriage, because the marriage won't last. It won't last if you're continually trying to force your partner to be somebody they're not, because eventually they're going to feel like they're in a box and they're going to need to leave. They're going to have to leave because it's not going to feel safe to them. They don't feel safe if everything they do is being criticized and looked at in a way that's negative. So step back and question, how am I looking at my new partner? And a lot of that comes out of trust, because when we first get married, what ends up happening is, it's a kind of buyer's remorse. When we first get married, we start going, oh my gosh, did I really get what I thought I paid for? Did I really get the person that I thought that I did? And we start questioning that, and we start looking for faults. We start looking for problems. We start looking for the behaviors perhaps that we saw in previous relationships where there were problems. So, what I want you to do is step back and really see your partner again for who it was that you married. Remember your wedding day. Remember how you met them. And step back and stop expecting them to be who you think they should be, and allow them to be who they are. And you know what? I promise you one thing for sure is that you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at the gift of who you're really married to, because if you try to see them through the lens of, are they going to fit into your expectation? No, they're never going to do that. And that's the fun part of being married. How boring would it be to be married to somebody who you could predict exactly how they were going to behave all the time? How boring would it be if they behaved exactly like you did, and if they made the same choices and looked at things the same way you did? That would make your life very boring. You don't want an exact duplicate of yourself. What you want is somebody who offers opposites of what you have, so that you can become more whole as a person. Sorry, gotta get rid of another call here. Anyway, that's my little bit for today. It's been bugging me for a while now to share this with you, because I think it's so incredibly important that we recognize this. It's the biggest complaint that I have, especially in new couples that are recently married, the struggle that they have with being able to accept each other for who they are and allowing each other to be who they are. And the happiest couples that I have are ones who enjoy the differences, who are able to appreciate and enjoy and laugh at perhaps even the differences. Because if you can recognize that the person that you are with has a whole different range of possibilities than what you could ever have, then you really are stepping into the potential for true intimacy when you allow yourself to allow your partner to be who they are, instead of trying to constantly criticize and correct and change who they are. Allow them to be who they are. And if you have trust issues, if you have issues from your past where you were afraid that certain things meant certain things, for example, if you think that because a person forgets to call you, it means they don't care. If you think that a person, if they have a friend that's a female, that means they're having an affair. If you have that kind of a history, you're going to need some help dealing with that trust issue, because largely those little criticisms come out of a fear that your partner is not who you thought they were. So I'm going to suggest to you, if you have those issues, please get yourself some help. Step into therapy, start talking to somebody, and get some help with dealing with that, because the truth is your partner needs to be who they are. You need to be who you are. And that doesn't mean that you don't get feedback. It's important to get feedback. When you did this, it had this impact on me, and I'd rather you did it this way. That's great. But don't be attacking all the time every little thing that your partner does, because you'll end up with a partner who you're pushing away. And unless you want to push them away, I think maybe you ought to reach out and get some help first. That's my thoughts for today. Thank you for joining me so much, and let me know if you have any other thoughts or questions. Thanks so much. Bye.